I was so busy getting my finances under control that I really forgot about the role that my parents' finances would play in my life. It took a traumatic experience to bring that to my attention, and I do not want that for you. So I'm sharing today how to talk to your parents about money and why it's so important. Hey, I'm Jen. I'm the creator of Modern Frugality, and I am passionate about helping people do better with their money so that they can do better things with it. But one of the things that a lot of people forget during their financial journey is the part that their parents' finances play. And this is something that I realized early on in my journey. I was 26 years old when I had to start dealing with this. So I had no idea what my parents' finances were like. I knew they weren't in debt, but I didn't know anything beyond that because we didn't talk about money, and most people's families don't. It wasn't until my late 20s that I realized we may not have had debt, but we didn't have savings or investments or any clue what to do with money other than make it and spend it. And we were living paycheck to paycheck, and I know a lot of other people's families were in the same boat. So in March 2017, my mom dropped the bomb on me that her home, my childhood home, was being foreclosed on in less than 3 months. Shocked is not a strong enough word. I was devastated. I'd spent 5 years trying to help my mom get on with her life. I knew that when my dad died in 2006 that she was struggling, but she wouldn't share anything about finances. And we had been working on paying off our debt for a year at that point. So I think she was just tired of hearing me talk about it, and she wouldn't share anything. And so it wasn't until the very end of that journey that she broke down. And I won't go into too much detail just to respect her privacy, but essentially it was something that could have been a minor inconvenience or just an inconvenience in general, but because she put it off and didn't seek help until it was too late and didn't tell me about it until even later, it became a nightmare. And so even with sitting with her through Financial Peace University and trying to get her to open up, I even suggested she sell my childhood home and use the equity to afford a smaller place or something like that. So I was kind of naive anyways to everything financially at that point, but I just didn't know how to talk to her, and that is why she never opened up to me. And so there are things looking back in the 3 years since that all went down that I realize I did wrong. And I'm so glad I was forced into having to think about these things early on. But I want to share with you kind of how I think about it now and how I would do things differently in trying to talk to her. And I hope you understand the significance of why it's so important. Millennials, we are at a critical point right now where we are paying off debt. We are starting to invest. We are starting our financial lives. And hopefully we're on the path to really succeeding. But something with our parents' finances could severely limit our growth. And I'm not saying that you have to pay for your parents going forward, that I'm not doing that. But we are at this critical point where taking care of our futures includes thinking about our parents. And so I hope you understand why it's so important to talk to your parents right now. And so I will go into a few ways on how to talk to them. But if you want something deeper, really going into how and what to talk about, I highly recommend my friend Cameron Huddleston's book, Mom and Dad, We Need to Talk. It's definitely a deeper dive, and she actually shares my story a little more in depth in the book, so you get to hear a little bit more of that and kind of how everything played out. So let's get into some of the things that I would change about my experience. So first tip in how to talk to your parents about money is to get over your fear and just do it. I actually didn't have a problem doing this, but I know that that is most people's biggest issue. Let's forget this notion that polite adults don't talk about money. I know more people are talking about money on the internet, but when we get to our real lives, it's still really awkward. And when we get to our families, it's even more awkward. It's like, no, I can talk about money to strangers on the internet, but when I get in front of my mom, then all walls go up. So we have to get over that fear and just start talking. So you don't actually have to start with your parents. If you have siblings, actually you should probably start with them first. So you guys can get all on the same page on what your intentions are with your parents and their finances, what you think is going down, like what you've heard. So talk to your siblings first to the extent that you can do that. And then once everyone's on the same page, then go to talk to your parents. You don't want to step on somebody's toes if they've already been talking to them or if they have intentions they haven't voiced. Let's all get on the same page before we go talk to mom and dad. But if you're an only child like me, it's all on you. So that's a big stressor, but you just have to get over your fear and start to do it. I started talking about my successes with money and what I was doing, and that was something I think that I did wrong because I kept saying all of the things that I was doing right, and it just made my mom more shameful about the things she was doing wrong. So that put up some walls in front of her. So I would say talk about money first, like about third party. Don't talk about their money, your money, anybody in the family's money. Let's just talk about money kind of abstractly, or talk about somebody else's finances. Not gossiping, but like if it's in the news or something you've heard, something like that. So start like twice removed with the money talks, and then as you start to broach the subject, then bring it closer to home. Second is to establish boundaries ahead of time, and this is mostly to protect you because some parents are travel agents for guilt trips. I remember passive-aggressive text messages and emails and all kinds of things when maybe a topic was broached, not even money related, but I just knew that because I had seen all that in other areas, that it was possible financially. And thank God it didn't really happen. I never had my mom like asking for money or like guilting me into trying to support her or anything like that. But I have had friends that have experienced that. So saying, oh, it took all this money to raise you. I need some help. I need you to repay me in some way. And they won't like say that up front, but like in their head, that's what they want you to think. So definitely establish your boundaries, how much you are willing to help financially, what your limit is, what your time limit is, because that was something that I not got taken advantage of, but I let myself give too much time. So you have to set your boundaries in every area of your life before you have these conversations. Remember that your parents' financial state is in no way your fault or frankly your responsibility. But as empathetic sons and daughters, we want to help our parents, and that's great. That's a great personality trait to have. Just don't be bullied or guilted into giving more than you are financially, realistically able to, whether it's time, money, or resources. Third is to give some grace. When I originally published the article that this video is based on, I immediately had a commenter on the post saying like, I don't know why you feel like it's your responsibility, and she got herself into this mess, yada, yada, yada. And my response was, well, I'm a human being and I empathize with her and I want to help her. Like, and the toll that it took, I titled the piece like, when you find yourself paying for your parents' financial mistakes. And so what that meant was that I wasn't necessarily paying financially, but I was paying emotionally. It was very emotionally taxing. And so you're going to find that, like, you're either going to pay like money or time or emotions when you're dealing with your parents. There's no way you can get away with not paying one of those unless your parents are like really well off. You're going to go through one of them. So I was really suffering emotionally from it all. And even through that suffering, I didn't take it out on my mom. I didn't put that on my mom because I understand that everybody makes financial mistakes. I have made them, I will continue to make them, and so will she. And so you have to have grace for your parents, no matter what they've put you through, what they've put themselves through. You have to have a modicum of grace for them. And that's the only way money conversations are going to be constructive, is if they see you coming from a place of not being above them. You just have to forgive them, have some grace, and come down to whatever level they're working on to have that conversation. And know that even with your grace, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be really, really mad, because I was super mad that I didn't have time to say goodbye to my childhood home. She just lost it. And then while it was being foreclosed on the week she was supposed to move out, she was on a cruise. And so there was nothing in me that wanted to have grace for her because I was so mad. And that's okay. Like, you can feel that. But your actions still have to show some grace and kindness and respect. Ultimately, we just have to break out of this cycle of silence around money. So however you do it is going to be right for you, but you just have to do it. And hopefully, if you take these 3 tips into consideration, your money conversations will be more productive than mine were. And then you will know where you stand financially with your parents. And so you can plan accordingly. Like, how much more do I need to save for retirement? Do I need to help my mom or dad with a long-term care insurance policy? Like, what do you need to do to change your finances to be okay with your parents' future? And you may find out that your parents have this secret stash of money that you didn't know about. And then you can rest easier. You can eliminate that anxiety and save at your regular rate. But you need to start having these money conversations. They don't need to happen all at once. They can gradually build. But now is the time. If you are in your 20s or 30s, it's time to start. And again, I definitely recommend Cameron's book, Mom and Dad, We Need to Talk. If this is something that you are stressed out about and you feel like you need some more hand-holding, some more guidance, her book is full of the conversations to have, how to have them, when to have them, all of that. So I will put a link to her book in the description, and definitely check out these other videos too. They are handpicked for you to help you with other stuff in your finances. And don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you here later.